Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem video. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 126, where I was white, played d4, and we got into a Nimzo-Indian. So you can see these are all popular moves. Knight f3, avoiding the Nimzo, is slightly more popular these days, but the Nimzo is still quite playable. And e3 is the most popular line in the opening book, but Queen c2 seems to get the most play these days at the top levels. Queen c2 is a classical line, and e3 is the Rubinstein variation. And that's the line I'm most familiar with. So that's how I learned to play it. So top two responses here are castles and c5. b6 is a little less common. And what I played, knight f3, is not the most common response. So knight ge2, reinforcing the knight here. Bishop d3. Yeah, I would prefer to move the bishop out before putting a knight on e2, blocking it in. But if you're putting a knight on f3, you can put it there right away. And f3 is a line I've played before, and I think that gives you decent results too, with the idea of building up a big center. But knight f3 is a move. And bishop b7, logical follow-on, and now bishop d3. And we're in a pretty standard position. You see there's still quite a few moves here. I just make a mistake somewhere, yeah, right here. So if we go back to the top here, knight a4 is the most common move here. I wasn't really aware of knight a4 as a move, so I wanted to check this out with the help of the chess engine in the opening book. So if I had played knight a4 here, the game might have gone like this: knight a4, new variation, c takes d4. Let's just look at the main line here. C takes d4, e takes d4, that's logical. And bishop e7 or rook e8, just retreating that bishop because it's not doing anything, or rook e8, developing the rook. And looks okay. What does the chess engine say? It says it's about an even position. It likes bishop d6 best here. Not one of the choices here. Bishop d6. Very funny looking move, blocking on the d-pawn. And I'm not sure what this knight on a4 is really doing. I think it was just putting extra pressure on c5, and so after the bishop retreats, let's check out this line, bishop e7. I'm just thinking maybe the knight just comes back to c3, and that is one of the moves here, knight c3, and also, or you can play a3 to prevent the bishop from coming back and then bringing the knight back. So the knight has to come back from its excursion to the side of the board. And then the game goes on from here. It looks like a normal position with maybe a little more space for white. Okay, but instead I played this bad move, queen c2, and I just forgot that the queen was defending the knight, and he can just take the knight, which he does, and double my pawns. And that's good for black. Not a winning advantage or anything, but gives black a little bit of an edge, whereas before white had the edge. So definitely a mistake. But the game goes on, and I don't play my losing move for quite a few moves, so let's check it out. Looks like black gets a good attack, but actually I was defending okay up until one certain point. So an exchange here. I was wondering if a move like knight to d4, e4 would do something. Yeah, it is one of the moves, but it's not as good as just e takes d4, which is sort of what I concluded during the game. Okay. What I was missing out on, though, all the time was this idea of knight b5, starting here. Knight b5 harasses this bishop here, which he put on d6. And I was just more concerned about securing my king side. King here, and he plays h6, which is a little bit slow. And now knight b5, you see it gives white an advantage. Also rook g1, which I played, gives white an advantage. King h8. And now, if you look at this, it says I can go ahead and play bishop takes h6 anyway. I thought because he had unpinned, this is now a bishop sacrifice. But let's check out how this sacrifice might work. So suppose he takes, first of all. Then queen to c1. Just a real simple move. Putting the queen on this file, and how does he defend it? Knight to g4, sacrificing the knight. King to g7 is not legal. King to h7 is not legal because that's covered by the bishop, that's covered by the rook. And knight to g8. leads to a mate in 10, starting with rook takes g8 check, king takes, and then probably, queen takes h6 next, and then you've got rook, this rook coming in, and you've got a pretty good mating net being established here. Okay, so that would have been a very interesting way to play. Let's back up. Of course, after bishop takes h6, he doesn't have to take the bishop, but then you've just snagged a pawn. And the weaknesses on his king side there are compensating for your weaknesses and your pawn up. So that would have been the way to keep the advantage. Also, this knight b5 move is still a move. I played none of the above. I played knight e4, thinking that I want to bring the knight in over here to defend my king. So I was just completely in a defensive mindset. Somehow I was forgetting about the offense. Got to keep both offense and defense in mind when you're playing chess. And now the engine likes f takes e4 better. I didn't like that because it blocks my own bishop. But I guess I have the idea of pushing to e5 later, blocking his bishop. And if he pushes to e5 to stop it, I can play d5, and I've still blocked his bishop. And then I have to reroute my light squared bishop. But okay, so this was not as good. Queen h4, threatening on h2, threatening mate, so I have to defend. And was there another defense? It says f4 here was a defense. Okay. And he brings in the knight. You see the game is still about even along here. Bishop moves, pawn moves, and takes was the best choice there. And bring my other rook in, so I get counterplay on the g file. Plays rook a to c8. So I was thinking offense there, but just not consistently, I guess. And f4 blocking up his bishop. The computer thinks that's okay. Takes, and takes. And now rook takes g7, and we're following the computer line here. It thinks this is best and should lead to a draw. Queen f3 check. Rook 7 or rook 1 to g2. I decided to play rook 1 to g2. And he played rook to g8. And now I realized, this rook is pinned, so this is not defended. And I thought, I'll play king g1 to unpin it. But, of course, this rook is attacked twice, so after I play king g1, I'm just losing the rook. Just a simple counting problem. So it's interesting the way the computer chooses to defend. First of all, queen b3 or queen c3 is a valid defense. So let's take a look at queen c3, just coming straight up. And if he exchanges queens, then I can throw in the check first. And then take his queen. And about an even game. So that's how threatening the queen results in a draw. So queen c3, if he doesn't take the queen and just moves his queen away, maybe going to here. Then queen h3, threatening this check here is pretty dangerous. So if he were to take my rook, for example, trying to win a rook, then queen takes h6 check. And king g8, queen here is mate. And what else could he try? Rook here. And queen f6 leads to mate. He's only got one move. And that's mate. So that's pretty strong. It's interesting that even though this rook is hanging, the threat of taking on h6 is even stronger. And so that leads to the third defensive idea here. The second one rather. I was just looking at those are variations of queen c3. b3 is very similar. The other idea, though, is queen d2, defending by attacking there. And just as before, he can't afford to let you take that pawn. It leads to a mate. So the recommended move here is f4, and then rook 7 to g3, chasing the queen away. And if he takes, of course, the queen takes on h6 with checkmate. So rook takes, h takes, and he still can't take because of the check there, although it's no longer mate, but it would be dangerous. Rook d8. I'm sorry, that was e8. It says rook d8. Oh, hitting this pawn. and queen e1, and says this leads to an even game. Hitting that pawn. F takes g3. Yeah, so the game goes on, but the material is even, and I'm not getting mated. So there were two possible defenses in this position after rook g8, and both of them lead to an even game. But I did not play either of them. I played king g1, and now this is just losing. I just miscounted here. He can take my rook, and when I take back, he takes back. So I'm just down a rook. I try to get a little complication going here, but nothing is happening, and he finishes off in style. This was all pretty much forced. If you look at this, the check here, and there's only one legal move. The check here, also only one legal move. The check here, only one legal move. And check here. I could interpose with the queen. Of course, that's giving up right away. So going here just loses massive amounts of material. So just being down a queen is not probably good enough. And in fact, there's the mate in 9 that Chess Engine has found here. So I resigned none too soon. But I was annoyed that my fortunes turned around so quickly there, because I thought I was holding up my defensive end pretty well up until that point when I lost the rook. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I'll see you again later. Bye.